I'm coming up on 14 years since I bought the farm here that became the Sustainable Homestead Institute. And knowing what I know now, I wanted to share these tips with you so that if you're starting your journey, you can be more efficient and fast into getting abundance into your own life. When I bought this place, I was only 26 years old, and I thought I had a good grasp of what it would take, from taking lots of survival classes and taking farming and generative agriculture design programs. I thought I knew what it would take. And the biggest takeaway is that it takes so much time and so much effort to do this. So you think about the inventors in agriculture, the George Washington Carvers, the people that you know about that came through and really changed the game. They were only increasing agricultural efficiency by 1%. And they have saved thousands of lives and fed millions of people just in those little increments in agricultural efficiency. And taking from that, I didn't understand how much time that it would take. A lot of my family was like, why would he want to be a farmer? And I thought, why wouldn't I want to be a farmer? But what they were seeing that I didn't see was the time and the effort that it was going to take to reach base level. So when I first got here, there was no greenhouse, there was no chicken coop, there was a dilapidated barn. Thankfully, there was a house on the property because I knew I needed someplace to live. There weren't wells like there are now. There weren't irrigation pipes, and I had to do all this stuff, and I thought it would come overnight. And you think that, oh, I can just pay a contractor and have it done. Well, yeah, you can, but truth is, it's probably not going to be done right. And it takes time for you to learn these skills and then implement those, and then learn how you can correct those skills and do it better the next time. That's why when we're on the second farm now, we're way fast in our execution of things. It's because we took the decade plus to learn those skills. So the first thing I want you to take away from this is that you can't buy experience. Sure, you can have mentors do it faster, but the only way to get good at anything is reps. It's all reps, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's farming. Warren Buffett has that quote, you don't got to swing at every pitch, you just got to swing at the good ones. But you have to swing at enough pitches to recognize which ones are good and which ones are bad. And this is exactly that. On a long enough time scale, you'll get the reps, you'll know how to do things faster, but it only comes from doing it and failure that you become good. Failure is absolutely acceptable, but quitting is not. The second thing is you have to observe before you act. There's so many times that I've been quick to do stuff just for the sake of seeing progress that I didn't take the time to read what the landscape was telling me to do. When I first built the greenhouse, I thought about putting it in other spots. And you don't want to put a greenhouse in a shady spot. And thankfully, I didn't do that. But it was only from taking the time to settle into the landscape and see where the sun is hitting the property first. And it's easy to think in a survival situation that you can come in and just start cutting down trees and start affecting the landscape the way that you want. When honestly, like, animals are instruments played by the landscape, and the landscape is playing us just as much as we're playing the landscape. But by observing and taking the time to create a good plan in observation with the way that nature is designed and nature intended, that's how we can save ourselves the most frustration and ensure the most abundance when we do actually go to building things, when we do go to putting in garden beds or having rotational grazing systems. It's easier because that's where they need to be. The land is telling you what to do, and the only way that you can listen to what the land is telling you is through observation. We don't want to put cows in a forest. We don't want to put goats on a prairie. We want to think and observe what those animals like, what is their habitat like, and build a habitat that's closer. So if you have woodlands on your property, that might not be a cow area, but it might be better suited for pigs. We just have to have a large enough toolbox that we can implement it based on our observations in an area. The last takeaway from this is that you need a community and you need people to help you. You cannot do it alone. We need mentors, we need friends, because ultimately the labor will crush you, but with many hands, it makes light work. David Goggins says, "Who will carry the boats?" But what we should be focused on is the rising tide lifts all boats. So if we're growing good gardens, our neighbors are growing good gardens, we have rotational management of livestock, and everybody is abundant and successful, that only increases our level of success in the long run. That's why we created the Homestead community, where we're sharing our successes, our failures, and ensuring that you can build abundance for yourselves and your families faster and easier than it takes us to do it. That's the whole thing. That's our whole mission, is to make sure that you can get back to the land cheaper, faster, more efficiently. So ultimately, you have more abundance and more time with your family. That's really what matters.